Hello viewers, welcome to this biology paper 2 representation. So if you are new to this channel, subscribe, share this video to your friends. The first question reads, question A. Figure 9.1 shows a root air cell. So the function of the root air cell is to absorb water and mineral salts. So we have structure Y. This structure Y, it is called the cytoplasm. The function of the cytoplasm, we can say the site where the chemical reactions occurs. So when I use the term site, this one means the place where all the chemical reactions occurs. Then structure the body Z. This one is called the vacuum. It's just the site which contains the cell sap. So in top of the cell sap, this one is just the solution. This solution composes three things: salt, sugar, and water. That's the cell sap. Now, from the same root air cell, we have the nucleus. So the nucleus is just the site which stores genetic information in form of the chromosomes. Apart from that one, the nucleus, it has the ability to control all the cell activities. So meaning all the activities which happens in the cell, they are controlled by the nucleus. In addition, we have the cell wall. This cell wall prevents the root air cell from bursting when it gains a lot of water by osmosis. Lastly, let me just include this one here. This part here is called the elongated outgrowth. So the elongated outgrowth is one of the features for the adaptation of the root air cell. So this structure here that you can see here, it is the elongated outgrowth. And the importance of this elongated outgrowth, it creates the large surface area for the absorption of water and mineral ions or mineral salts. Roman number 1. Name the following parts of the cell. We have Y, which is called the cytoplasm. Z, which is called the vacuum. Now, as you can see from this root air cell, we don't have the chloroplast or the chlorophyll. That's very, very important to remember. Let's see the next question. The next question, which is Roman number 2, it is saying, the function of this cell is to absorb water and mineral ions from the soil. Describe one feature shown in the diagram that is an adaptation for this function. Let's see. I'm from saying that this elongated outgrowth, it creates the large surface area for the absorption of water and mineral salts or mineral ions. Meaning, we are going to say the elongated outgrowth which creates the large surface area for the absorption of water and mineral ions or salts. Then as for Roman number 3, it is saying, state two features of this plant cell that would not be present in a typical animal cell, such as a liver cell. So now from this typical plant cell, we don't have the chloroplast. So that one, do not include that one. In this typical plant cell, we don't have the chloroplast or the chlorophyll. So do not include that one. So which ones are we going to include here now? The first thing, I'm going to include the cell wall. Apart from the cell wall, I'm going to include the vacuum. But you're going to find that the vacuum is present in animal cells, but in smaller amount, and it is not permanent. So those are the only structures which I'm going to include. When you include the nucleus is also present in animal cells. When you include the cytoplasm is also included in where? In animal cells. So we only have two features here, which is the cell wall and the vacuum. So you can say the cell wall and the vacuum. Then as for B, it is saying, state what is meant by the term osmosis. So we need to define 3 marks. Now, for us to answer this question, let me just try to explain some terms which we are going to use here. When I use them, you need to understand. When I say high outer potential, what is the meaning of high outer potential? So high water potential is the region where you're going to have more water molecules, meaning it is a lower concentration solution. That's the meaning of high water potential. Then when you say lower water potential, it is the region where you are going to have less water molecules and highest concentration of what? Solutes. Examples of solutes: sugar, salt, and so on. Then when you say higher concentration of water is same as the higher water potential. Then when you say lower concentration of water, it's just same as what? Water potential. Then the last one, we have higher concentration and lower concentration. Higher concentration and lower concentration deals with the solutes. Meaning, when you say higher concentration, it is the solution with more solutes. Then when you say lower concentration, it is the solution with less solutes and more water molecules. So here I'm going to say osmosis is the movement of water molecules from the region of higher water potential, meaning lower concentration, to the region of lower water potential, meaning higher concentration, through the selective semi-permeable membrane. I think that one is clear. Then apart from that one, we are going to say, when the water molecules move from lower concentration going to the higher concentration, the concentration gradient occurs. So now you may wonder what concentration gradient is. So by definition, concentration gradient is the difference in concentration between two regions. See the next question. The next question is coming from reproduction, and it is saying, figure 7.1 shows some of the stages in human reproduction. So here we have the body cell in organ V undergoing process Z to produce the sperm. So now what is process Z? Process Z, it is the cell division. Now, there are two types of cell divisions. We have what we call meiosis and mitosis. Now you need to know where meiosis occurs and where mitosis occurs. Since the sperm is an example of the gamete cell, okay? And one thing that you need to understand here is that meiosis occurs in gamete cells, meaning process Z is going to be called as the meiosis. Now what is organ V? Organ V is called the testis. So organ V is the testis. Right, so let's come to this side here. We have body cell in the ovary. Body cell in the ovary producing cell W. So now the ovaries, they produce the what? The eggs or the egg. So W can be the egg. Apart from being the egg, it can be the ovum, whichever way you choose. Now when these two are brought together, the sperm and the egg are fused together, they are going to undergo process X. And this process we are going to call it as fertilization. Once fertilization occurs, the zygote is going to be formed. Now, once the zygote is formed, process Y is going to occur, so that the cell divide itself or replicate itself to form an embryo. So now as for the process Y, this one is going to be called as mitosis because it is occurring in somatic cells. When I say somatic cells, the other name for the somatic cells, it is just the body cells. So this one is mitosis. Okay, so let's try to answer the questions. So the first question, which is question A, is saying, name organ V and cell W. So organ V is going to be called as the testis. Cell W is going to be called as the egg or the ovum. Then B, name the process that is occurring at X. So at X, at this point here, this one is called what? Fertilization. Not implantation, but fertilization. So X, it is fertilization. And then as for C, it is saying, state what type of nuclear division. When we say nuclear division, this one is same as the cell division. So state what type of nuclear division is occurring when the cells divide at Y and Z. So let's see at Y. What was happening at Y? What type of cell division is happening at Y? It is the mitosis. Then at Z, meiosis, because the gamete cell is being produced now. Now let me also explain on this part here. When meiosis occurs, 4 different haploid daughter cells are going to be produced. You know that the total number of chromosomes in somatic cells of a living organism, which is the human being, they are about 46. Meaning the sperm is going to contain the half of this total number. Now the half of this total number, it is just 23. So meaning the sperm contains 23 chromosomes. Then the zygote is going to contain now 46 chromosomes, because this zygote contains now the body cells, which are also known as the somatic cells. Okay. Then as for D, it is saying the nucleus of the cell in the ovary contains 46 chromosomes. State the number of chromosomes present in the nuclei of cell W, a cell from the embryo. So let's see cell W. Cell W is the ovum. The ovum and the sperm, they contain the same number of chromosomes, meaning even the ovum is going to contain 23 chromosomes. But the zygote is going to contain 46 chromosomes. So here we can just say W is going to contain 23 chromosomes. Then a cell from the embryo. The cell from the embryo, it is going to contain 46 chromosomes. I hope on this part you are clear. Alright, so let's just move on to the next question. So the next question is saying, water is an important part of a balanced diet. State 3 other components of a balanced diet. So here we need to have the carbohydrates. Apart from the carbohydrates, we need to have the roughage. Apart from the roughage, we need to have the proteins. Apart from the proteins, we need also to have the vitamins. So we can choose from those diets. Then as for B, state where most water is absorbed in the alimentary canal. So most of the water is absorbed in the alimentary canal. Specifically, we can say in the large intestine. So most of the water are absorbed in the large intestine. Okay. Sometimes you are going to find that even in the kidney. Now, in the kidney, what usually happens there is just the absorption, not the absorption. Reabsorption. So do not include the kidney here. Let's see the next question, which is C. Excess water is removed in the urine. Figure 8.1 shows the organ system that excretes excess water. So we have the kidneys. We also have part A and part B. The last one is part C. So we need to understand what part A is and what part B is and part C is. So as for part A, this one is called the ureter. Then as for part B is called the bladder. That is where now the urine is stored temporarily. Then as for part C, this part C is called the urethra. Okay, part C is called the urethra. So now, the question is saying, state the names of the parts labeled A, B, and C. So A is called the ureter, B is called the bladder, then C is called the urethra. So there is a difference between urethra and the ureter. Part A is the ureter. This one here carries only urine. Only urine. Then as for part C, which is called the urethra, this urethra, it is just the passage where both urine and sperm passes. Let's see the next question. So the next question is saying, several members of Rowan's family have an illness called PKU. PKU is caused by a recessive allele, which is small letter A. The normal allele is capital letter A. Question A. Explain what is meant by a recessive allele. What is a recessive allele? So in terms of a recessive allele, it is just the allele which is overshadowed by the dominant allele on the phenotype. That's the answer. The recessive allele, it is the allele which is overshadowed on the phenotype by the dominant allele, or the allele which is overshadowed by the dominant allele on the phenotype. Let's see the next question. Question B reads, Rohan has PKU. She has collected information about her parents and grandparents. This is the family tree that she has drawn. So we have the family tree here. So for us to handle this family tree, we need to look at the key. So the circle which is not shaded is indicating that the female is not affected. Then the circle which is shaded is indicating that the male is affected with PKU. Then the square which is not shaded, it is indicating that the male is not affected by PKU. Then the square which is shaded, it is indicating that the male is affected with PKU. Okay? So let's see Roman number 1. Roman number 1 is saying, what is Rohan's genotype? So as for the genotype, we usually use the alleles. And alleles, these are just alternate forms of genes that occur in pairs. So as you can see here, Rohan, he has a circle which is painted, meaning this one here, meaning Rohan is affected by PKU. Now, which alleles are we going to use here? Are we going to use capital letter A and small letter A, or small letters for A, which is homozygous recessive? Since this PKU is caused by a recessive allele, and Rohan on this part here is having PKU, meaning Rohan is going to have homozygous ones, which is small letters for A. I hope on this part here you have understood. Okay. Then as for Roman number 2 is saying, Rohan's parents have the same genotype as each other. So if the mother is having something like this, even the father is going to have the same. Or if the father is having something like this, even the mother is going to have something like this. Which means this one is heterozygous dominant. And this one is homozygous recessive. That is what it means. Now, the question is saying, draw a genetic diagram to show how Rohan inherited PKU from her parents. Okay, so let me just use this space here. As you can see here, both of the parents here, they are not affected, okay? They are not having PKU. Now, since they are not affected by PKU, how can these two have the daughter cells or the offsprings who are going to be affected by PKU? So let's just do a survey here. If we say we have another A, which is homozygous dominant, then another one, which is this one here. If we cross them, are we going to have offsprings who are going to have PKU? We are not going to have any. Okay? Now let's use this one here. So let me just start with the parental phenotype. So on part of the parental phenotype here, we are going to have mother close to father. Okay? Then the next one is going to be the parental genotype, where we are going to use now the alleles. They are the same genotypes. So meaning if I select this one here, where I'm going to say heterozygous dominant, even this one heterozygous dominant, are we going to have a child who is going to have PKU? Now remember here, since this PKU is caused by a recessive allele, as you can see here, none of them are having the shape which is painted here, meaning all of them are normal. So what are we going to do here? We can say homozygous recessive, even here homozygous recessive. Immediately we are going to use homozygous recessive, even here homozygous recessive. we are going to find that this one here now need to be painted. Even this one here need to be painted. Okay? So meaning we need to use now heterozygous dominant ones. Okay? So meaning here we are having heterozygous dominant, even here heterozygous dominant. Okay? So let's use those. So here we are going to have the gametes, where we are going to split them. So this one is going to be close with this one. Then here we are going to have AA, which is homozygous dominant. Then this one with this one. Here we are going to have heterozygous dominant. This one with this one. Here we are going to have heterozygous dominant. This one with this one. Here we are going to have homozygous recessive. So this one is called the F1 genotype. So as for the F1 genotype, we are having this one here who is going to be normal. This one is going to be normal, and this one is going to be normal. But here we are going to have a child who is going to be affected by PKU. At least we have a child who is going to be affected by PKU. Now remember, if here you use the small letters, meaning the mother is going to be affected, isn't it? In the question they are saying all of them, they are normal because none of them here is shaded, is having the box which is shaded. Then the last one, you just need to include the F1 phenotype, where now you are going to specify, is this one a normal? Yes, this one is the normal, and this one is going to be a carrier. A carrier, it doesn't mean that a person is affected by a certain disease. No, a carrier is also normal. Even this one is going to be a carrier, which is going to be normal, but this one here is going to be affected by PKU. Okay? So meaning here we have at least a child who is affected by PKU. So that is how we come up with a genetic diagram. So here, just help me to include the last one, which is F1 phenotype. Say, as for the first one, this one here, say normal. Even this one normal, and then the last one, PKU. That's all. So that was the last one. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more videos like this.